Hello and welcome to another video. Today we're gonna talk a little bit about how the car was mapped for standard or for the road. The car was mapped like yesterday, I think, and we had it mapped in complete street spec, so stock intake, stock exhaust. The only thing that we've changed was the HJS downpipe, so nothing really major or just a small upgrade. The reason we did this is to check if the map also works on the stock car and not just with the race version with the CTEC intake and the full DCAT and without the OPF. The biggest issue that the 7mod he mapped or they mapped the car, and the biggest issue we found is the OPF. That's a little bit of a restriction in the exhaust system, so that's basically the thing that limits the output of power. And so we ended up roughly around 310 horsepower, which is pretty good for stock. And I'm gonna test the car for the next 3 days at mountain passes all around Switzerland and Italy. Just to make sure everything works and there are no fault codes or anything. So that's what I'm gonna do in the next couple of days, just to make sure everything works. After that, we'll go back to race spec with the CTEC intake and the full decatted and 3-inch exhaust, right from the turbo back. And we estimate around 380, maybe even 400 horsepower, and yeah, which would be very nice. We will also add E85 with bigger injectors, so I just like E85 very much, so that's what we're gonna do. We will maybe have to change the clutch. Not today, but sometime in the future we most likely have to change the clutch because it will just not hold up to that much power. Yeah, hard at work on a Saturday, like expected to be. So that's what we did in the past or in the last couple of days, and so we should be ready in maybe August, start or middle of August, to map customer cars. So if you're interested to get your car mapped, just let me know, and I will show you down here the email address. I have already a list with a few people who are interested in a map, so we'll make 1 or 2 dyno days. There will be constantly added new features, so we still don't know everything about the car, and we will add other features to the map in the future. So if you have the map from us or even 7mod, you can get the upgrades, depends on what it is, maybe for free, maybe for a little surcharge. We haven't decided that yet, depends on if we can just upload the new files or if you need to come back and get on the dyno or we need some more testing with it. But that's one of the things you have to know. The map is finished. We can map now customer cars, and but we will add most likely more features in the future. Yeah, that's basically it. I'm gonna drive home with the car right now and test it on the German highway just to see how fast it will go, and yeah, compared to stock, it's a pretty huge gain. So we're talking roughly an increase of 40-45 horsepower, which is very nice for a stock or just a street car. If you drive your car just on track, or if you want to get rid of the OPF, you will see much more power. So, or if you live in a country where the OPF isn't necessary, you will be able to generate much more power with your car, and not just the 310 horsepower. The OPF is just the restrictive thing in the exhaust and what limits the power. So now I'm gonna drive it back home. I have driven it for a few days. Let's see where we end up. See you soon. So I'm back from 3 days of driving through the Swiss Alps. It was fun. It was a fun 3 days and straight back to work. But one of the reasons we did this, or I did this road trip, was to test how the engine mapping works on the street. And we tested that from 32 degrees, I think it was, on the German Autobahn. The car worked perfectly all 3 days. We tested it from 32 degrees and 1,000 to 1,500 meters above sea level. Up to 2,500, I think, was the highest pass we did, where we had mostly 17, 18 degrees. We also had 12 degrees in rain, so it was pretty interesting these 3 days. The only damage is this one. Yep, that's what happens. That's what happens when you push the car through the Swiss Alps for 3 days and just don't give a shit. Then things like this happens. But except from through cuts and bruises, car is pretty fine and everything worked as it should be. So we can offer now the stage. I'm not a fan of calling it stage 1 or stage 2 or whatever stage it is, but it's just a map for the stock ECU. It works with a stock car, or this one has the HJS downpipe, which should add maybe 5, 10, maybe 15 even. I think it will be around 10 horsepower. Yeah, it worked perfectly the whole 3 days, and we did roughly, I think, 700 kilometers through the Alps, and yeah, it was just pure fun to throw the car around. As said, we have right now 310 horsepower, roughly around that. Right now it's the end of July, and the first cars that we're gonna map will be at the end of August. 310 should be pretty solid with the HJS downpipe, maybe 300 with the stock downpipe. So if you're interested, and if you're living in Switzerland or Germany, because we can't send the map, obviously, we have to map every car on the dyno, which we will do, so just to make sure every car runs as it should. That's basically it for this video. Car is pretty much faster than before. It's a lot of fun to drive, and if you want it, just send me a mail. I'll show the email address. It's in the description or just somewhere around here. So if you're interested, just let me know. We will make, I think, 1 or even 2 dyno days. We haven't decided when, but it will be in the end of August. Most likely in the eastern part of Switzerland, close to Germany. So we can get a good range of people from Switzerland, Germany, even Austria or France who want to come. That's it for this video. I'm gonna show you a few pictures of our trip through the Alps, or maybe I have even posted that or showed you that before. I don't know, but you'll see it anyway. So it was pretty exciting, and we had some pretty fun to drive the car. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Goodbye.